Hello, my name's Simonez and welcome to another Simonez Guide video. I wanted to get a quick one out to you guys today to talk about the talent builds that I'm raiding with today and tomorrow, the ones I'm going to be leveling up with, and most importantly, the builds I plan to raid with in my first Nomergon. The biggest change from Phase 1 to Phase 2 is that Mutilate has had its cost reduced from 60 energy down to 40 energy, which is a absolutely massive, colossal buff, and every build should be using Mutilate at this point. It's so much stronger than the other alternatives. If you ain't mutilating, you're probably wrong. Now, let's get into some of the builds. I have all these builds posted on my Discord, which is linked in the video description. You can go to the Season of Discovery Resources section and the Season of Discovery Talents channel. You'll have all kinds of information about talents. First, let's just take a quick peek at the level 25 rating build that'll be relevant for about one more day. We have that right here with 11 points in Assassination, 5 Malice, 3 Ruthlessness, 2 Slice and Dice, 1 Relentless Strikes, and 5 over here in Opportunity. And then we are taking Deadly Brew, Envenom, and Mutilate runes. Enough of that, let's go and look at the leveling builds. And I have 2 different leveling builds. First, we have one for dungeon leveling. Dungeon leveling, you're going to be in a group. You're probably not going to be taking hits from enemies very often. So we skip over the repost, which we will take in the soloing build. But the main point of this is that we want to get Blade Flurry as early as possible. So we're going into combat precision. We're taking improved backstab, which will increase the critical strike chance of our Mutilate. Dual wield specialization, because our Mutilate hits with our offhand weapon as well as our main hand. This talent's also increasing our Mutilate damage as well as a big boost to our auto attack damage. And that gets us to Blade Flurry. Then we go for a couple dagger specialization, little weapon skill, and round it out with some opportunity. We'll be level 40 at that point and then respec into a build that's actually good for raiding. If you want to see the exact talent progression, that's below on each of these, with every level's talent pick all the way from 10 to level 40, as well as the runes, Deadly Brew, Mutilate, Envenom. Pretty simple setup. I'm not planning to be able to get any of the new runes while leveling up, but you could take Master of Subtlety in the boots, or you could take Shadow Step or Shuriken Toss on the waist. Those would both be great options if you can find them. The soloing build, like I said, we'll just look at it real quick. Just takes repost and basically drops out some points from dagger specialization to be able to make that happen, as well as endurance and improved sprint. But the goal is pretty much the same. We're picking up Blade Flurry as early as possible, then grabbing a little weapon skill and finishing out with opportunity. And the runes look exactly the same as well, with Deadly Brew, Envenom, and Mutilate. Now let's get to the most exciting part, the level 40 raiding builds, and there's a couple different ones that I think could be good in a couple different situations, so let's talk about that. The first is the Mutilate Cold Blood build, and this is going to be my go-to build for my first Nomergon. We're going 26 points into Assassination with Malice, Slice and Dice, Ruthlessness, Relentless Strikes is a huge talent, just a couple points in Lethality. We don't really want to be taking points here, but we got to get farther into the tree. Improved poisons and vile poisons are big bonuses to both our envenom damage and our poison damage, and the uptime of our deadly poison. Increasing the chance for those to apply means it's way less likely that we drop a stack of deadly poison. Finally, we take a cold blood point and 5 points over in subtlety to get opportunity, boost up our mutilate damage quite a bit more. For the runes, it's just like the leveling build with Deadly Brew, Mutilate, and Envenom, and once you can discover the Phase 2 runes, I'd go Master of Subtlety, and in most circumstances, Shadow Step, but of course, Shuriken Toss can be very good in multi-target situations. Now this build relies pretty heavily on nature damage, both from your poisons and your envenoms. While we did get confirmation that none of the bosses would be immune to poisons, they may be resistant to those damage types, and depending on how resistant to those damage types they are, we might want to switch into a build that's a little bit less of an emphasis on the poison damage, and that is the Relentless Strikes / Dual Wield Specialization build. Here, we invest only 11 points into Assassination, and we go 20 points into combat to pick up Dual Wield Specialization, and more of these juicy combat talents like improved backstab and precision. So this is a build we should use if we come across a target that's highly resistant to nature damage, and exactly how highly resistant, yeah, I don't have that figured out yet. The runes look exactly the same, and it's great. Now, you might be confused why I don't have any builds with Adrenaline Rush or Blade Flurry in them yet. Let's talk about one of those, a Mutilate build with Adrenaline and Blade Flurry. Now, the single target sustained damage output of a build like this is not great in comparison to the other ones. This is a build that should really only be used if you're thinking you're going to kill the boss in 30 seconds or less, or if you're in a situation where you can hit 2 targets with Blade Flurry. Hitting 2 targets with Blade Flurry, doubling up on that Envenom and Mutilate damage for a 15-second window is going to be a pretty huge advantage. Again, the runes look exactly the same, and let's talk about the last build here. A level 40 Saber/combat build, the more typical combat build that you might imagine for a rogue, but really, this is not one I recommend. My spreadsheet currently estimates this to be about 16% behind the Mutilate builds. You can see we take Fist Weapon Specialization because the best weapons available for a Saber/type of build would be the Mechanier's Arcano Shredder and the Swift Sanguine Strikers. But of course, we won't have those weapons from the get-go, so if you're looking at some quest swords like Vanquisher's Sword, or maybe your Warsong Gulch Sword, or your Sword of Omen for Horde, or Sword of Serenity for Alliance, you know, those good level 40 quest swords, you'd be taking those 4 points into Sword Specialization in this build instead. The runes are a little different than the Mutilate builds, because we're not doing that, but really it's only one change in the hand rune, switching from Mutilate into Saber/. The rest of them are still the same and very good. Thank you for watching this video. This is an initial take at the talents for Phase 2 in Season of Discovery, and if I have any changes to this, I'll make note in a pinned comment below, and I'll have a more comprehensive rating guide coming out later. Just wanted to get this one out to you guys because I know this is something you're interested in. I hope you guys are having as much fun in Season of Discovery as I am. I'm super hype. On Thursday, I'm going to be playing until Mechanier Thermoplug is dead. We're planning to level up super fast, get into the raid, get it cleared. So that's going to be a stream all day into the early hours of Friday, so don't miss that. My Twitch channel where that's going to be live is linked in the video description. Hope you have a good day, and see you in Azeroth.